Welcome to the Bong Dimension, a podcast where a couple of queer creators committed a little too hard to a bit and are now going to tell you in a 10-episode miniseries about all 10 movies in the Evil Bong franchise.
I swear to God.
My name is Deb Solovey.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. My name is Deb Solovey. What's your name?
I'm Victor.
And I'm Toby.
And as Victor said, we thought it was only 4 movies.
we sure didn't think it was only 4 movies.
We sure
To
did.
be fair, and like maybe I should have done my research a little more, but when I Googled how many movies are in the Evil Bong franchise, there's only 4 that show up on Google. But there's like 9 in that box set, and then 10 on their website. So, like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, were you high when you were putting in your search function as well? Like, what happened here?
Everything about this series is just infested with weed smell.
I should mention also, and at the very least, I'm speaking for myself. I don't know about y'all, but given that this series is called Evil Bong, I feel that there is really only one way to watch it, which is as the creators and God intended after smoking a bowl. So I took a nice fat rip from my own bong, and that is how I experienced this film.
I intended on having an edible, but just as the first time I watched this movie, I watched it again, stone cold sober.
And I am unfortunately out of the good stuff.
Uh-oh. It's okay. I get medical, and it's legal where I am, so I can just get the good stuff. It's like walking distance from my house. Man, this was a trip and a half, because as you mentioned, we did watch it twice. The first time we watched it without intending to make a podcast about it, and I forget how it happened because I was high then too. But I think it was me who proposed the idea for this. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, fully believing there was only 4 movies.
You watched, like, the 4th one first on accident.
I started watching the 4th one first, and then I paused it immediately because it was so insane that I was like, I need to tell Victor about this. I need to watch this with some friends. I can't watch this alone. It's too much. And so I did, and then we sort of made plans to watch the first one. So I've seen 2 or 3 minutes of the 4th one, and then I've seen this first one twice. And I mean, I don't remember much about the first time we watched it, but it was a trip and a half, man.
We were, like, dying the whole time.
Yeah.
It was
and it multiple senses of the word dying, because like sometimes I was dying of laughter and sometimes like my soul was dying. You know what I mean?
As Charles Band, I guess, intended.
Yeah, as Charles Band and God intended. So I mean, how do we summarize this movie? Gosh.
I guess I think we should start with, like, the people who made it.
Oh, yeah.
A bit of the context around this was, like, Full Moon Pictures, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys seem to know more about that than I do.
Full Moon.
Go ahead.
I know about Full Moon because they were a special interest for a hot minute back in high school. But Full Moon Productions is the continuation of Charles Band, my fucking nemesis, and his series of pretty god-awfully produced, like, horror B movies. If there is blood and boobs and sometimes pro-weed, sometimes anti-weed sentiments, Charles Band's, like, hands are, like, all over that. And this was one that was made in 2006 and put into very few theaters in, like, on Halloween 2006.
This shit came out in theaters?
It came out in theaters.
Holy shit.
Had a theatrical release. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
I'm just imagining going to sit down in a theater and seeing this. And also, like, thinking about the time in high school where I snuck an entire, like, fried green tomato BLT into a movie. And, like, imagining doing that.
Yeah, imagine that BLT and, like, a good joint and going into this theater and watching this film as a theatrical experience. And this is like especially like upsetting for me to imagine because I have sensory issues with theaters. I can't be in theaters for very long. My autism just does not like it. So that would be a spiritual experience. I don't know if it would be a good one.
Would the weed help the theater experience?
Probably. I mean, I can only imagine it would. I think it's really the only way to sort of tolerate this film anyhow. Um, it's like it's not good, and it's very clearly like very 2006, just based on like the sense of humor and the like language being used, and even just like the way they dress too.
Extremely
It's
2000s.
yeah. We made the joke at the beginning that's like it's surprising that Matthew Lillard isn't in this movie.
Yeah, especially because one dude, Bachman, looks so much like him.
Yeah, he looks like Shaggy.
He is like discount Matthew Dillard.
I said at the beginning of this watch, I was like, this has the same vibes as the live-action Scooby-Doo movies.
It does, yeah. The very distinctly mid-2000s vibes. Yeah, so it opens... The credit sequence is probably the best part of the movie.
3D spinning screensaver weed leaves.
And like a banger song, by the way. A really good song.
Oh yeah, I lost it. Hold on.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, the while Toby's looking it up again, the soundtrack for this movie makes some fucking choices. Let me tell you that. Like it does some truly insane shit, but the opening song is definitely one of the better ones.
I think that one was made for this movie.
It was Bong Toke by Cock Kings.
Perfect.
Bong Toke by Cock Kings.
I love that.
I love that.
Why not? Why not with
Just
this movie?
Vaguely Rastafarian, like, music. I'm still surprised. That set looked like it was made with $2.
Oh yeah, there's 2 whole sets in this movie.
Yeah. One of them is like an abandoned school cafeteria, and the other one is like the director's apartment or something. Like it's pretty gnarly. Yeah, now that I think about it, the whole film does take place in that home, doesn't it? It's like an episode of Frasier where it all takes place in the one.
Yeah, it's just the apartment or the Bong dimension.
Yeah, Bong dimension. So let's talk. Let's get back into the plot, and maybe that'll get us up to eventually explaining what the Bong dimension means. So it starts off, and this fucking nerd ass loser named Alistair moves in with these stoners, and he's like a nerd,
like pocket protector nerd.
Yeah. The jock character like opens his jacket and makes a joke that he doesn't have a pocket protector. But yeah, he moves in because he's in college or whatever, and he doesn't really like weed. He doesn't smoke, but he says like it's fine if you do it. I don't want to. I don't want to lose any brain cells or something like that. I don't know what he says.
He needs all his brain cells for his like double masters or whatever he's studying.
Yeah, doesn't the one guy say like, just the secondhand smoke alone is going to take like 100 IQ points away from you or something like that?
Yeah.
Did we ever get speaking of this part of the film, did we ever get like a count of how many times the woman mannequin in the house was wearing a bra?
I forgot to pay attention.
Yeah.
That's okay. There was a lot going on.
There was. Right,
there was so much.
So he like moves into this just the nastiest apartment. There is posters and garbage and clothing everywhere. It's a real frat boy apartment, except they aren't even in frats because they're not that cool. There's like the guy who's like it's his apartment, like Larnell, which wild name. There's Bachman, who is like the surfer dude, and I don't think I actually fucking got the name of the like jock guy.
I don't think he was named.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it was like
I think he was
Ken or something like that.
Kyle, Chad, whatever.
He plays baseball, or he did until
before he got piss tested, and then he got kicked off the team or something.
Yeah.
Skill issue. I mean, there's plenty of athletes who get away with that shit. I don't know. Yeah, so what was it? I think it's Larnell, right? The one who's got like the rich grandpa.
Yep.
I can't remember if this is before or after he orders the Mystic Bong. that he finds an ad for in like a comic book or something. I don't know.
I think
This is
that
the
is in the opening.
Yeah,
scene.
the beginning is he like gets the money from Alistair. He then immediately uses it to buy this like mail order bong.
This mail order haunted bong in like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
magazine.
And it says something like users beware or something like that, or there may be like bad side effects or something, and they of course don't give a shit. So his grandpa shows up at one point, who is the
Larnell's
most fascinating character in the movie. Yeah, Larnell's grandpa. It was impossible to track his dialogue.
He just had a lot of interesting insults for his grandson and his friends. That actor, basically all of the actors in this have done like a lot of small things generally. A lot of them are recurring like Full Moon Pictures actors, especially I noticed across like Ginger Dead Man, Killjoy, and Evil Bong. Although I think the guy who plays Alistair does not come back even for the sequel.
Good for him.
The grandpa was in like 3 episodes of iCarly.
Yeah. The way he talks is like he'll say, like, I remember one line he had, he's like, you're about as useful as a used tampon or something like that.
That's how
Yeah.
all of his dialogue is.
Yeah, you disgusting perverts. And then he says some like Victorian sounding insult. He calls them all cocksuckers several times. That's like his catchphrase.
Stepping back a little bit, they order the bong. There's like the immediate next scene between these amazing transitions with the
the
music
washes
and the CGI weed leaves.
We need to talk about that. I'm sorry. I know you're like in the, but like it'll interrupt. It's like a jump scare. It'll interrupt like a quiet scene or like some sort of revelation or something like that, and it's like all of a sudden this blasted with polka music and like a fucking awful looking weed screensaver wash. It's terrible. Anyway,
It's beautiful.
if I learn video editing, I'll find a way to put the wash in this episode somehow.
They like Alistair is like yelling at Larnell because he was playing video games too loud. He couldn't study. Playing Super Mario World with like none of the correct audio over it.
Yeah, and he was playing it on Xbox too.
He was playing it on SNES. He just had Xbox games like stacked up on top of the TV. And their bong gets delivered, and by a weird old man named Rabbit. I guess that's what his name tag said. But they get it, they open it. It's not a bong, it's a hookah.
Yeah.
The whole title is wrong.
Yeah.
The whole thing is like it looks so melted plastic, and it is very much like a hookah, which they made so many comments about this bong being very yonic. Is,
Yeah,
I guess, the polite way I can say it.
Larnell is goes on about how feminine it is.
Yeah, they compare it to a woman and like female genitals in particular, which to be fair, it does have a woman's face on it, which gets more detailed as time goes on and looks even worse as time goes on. But basically, it's a very tall. It's shaped like a bong, right? And it's got like the chamber at the bottom and the large shaft, but it's got 4 hoses coming off of it the way a hookah would. And like at no point does anybody actually breathe in from the part of the bong where you're supposed to do the thing. No, they still light it like the way like a bowl on a bong looks, but they have like 4 hookah hoses. And so it's like, what are we doing here? If it's an Evil Bong, if the movie's called Evil Bong and it's not a bong, what are we doing here?
I guess Evil Bong kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit better than Evil Hookah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Evil Hookah still works. Evil Bong is funnier though.
It is. They start smoking out of it, and then they're like, whoops, we're out of weed. And then it just cuts to the next day when they have like this huge gallon bag full of weed now. Mm-hmm. And the jock guy brings by his girlfriend and her other friend.
Yeah, what's her name? Jeanette?
Yeah, I think it's Janet.
Yeah.
Janessa? Okay. Yeah, and oh god, who's the cheerleader girl? She's not even a cheerleader. She comes in and she says she's wearing the cheerleader outfit because it turns on her boyfriend, the jock guy, which says a lot about his particular kinks.
I don't even know if the girlfriend was named, so we got 2 unnamed characters.
Honestly.
Indeed we do.
But like there's like a thing with like Alistair like sort of flirts with the other girl. He embarrasses himself by getting dishwater all over the front of his pants or whatever.
Yeah, and it looks like he did something in his pants. At least, was that dishwater?
Yeah, there was like soap all over there.
Because honestly, I did not catch on that was supposed to be like that he was washing, or I guess it did mention he was washing his underwear in the sink. I deadass just thought they had like fully committed to the gag and just made him like drop the fattest load you've like. I fully thought
himself than anything, but there was like soap suds all over his crotch too.
Yeah, there was foam, but like to me on my screen it did look like synthetic goo. So I fully thought they just committed to the bit. I didn't even think they were trying to do like dishwash. That's why it was like so disgusting for me.
Yeah, no, it was soap suds.
Thank Christ. So because the other thing was so much worse. But yeah, so what happens after that? I don't quite remember.
So they leave, and the guys start smoking again, and then they leave Bachman on the couch to do something.
Right, he takes a really big hit from the bong, like more than anybody else.
The fattest rip.
He's basically comatose.
Yeah. He leans back into the couch. His soul fucking leaves his body and goes into the bong dimension.
Real quick, the bong does call the jock guy's girlfriend a bitch, and she like turns around and gets mad.
Oh yeah, because the bong can talk in this movie.
Yes.
And we'll talk more about that.
But anyway, Bachman goes to the bong dimension. Which is a shitty nightclub, strip club.
Yeah, it looks like it was filmed in like an abandoned warehouse or a school cafeteria, and they just like rented some tables and poles and got some strippers
100%
for the set.
Topless for the entire movie, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and they lingered on these strippers for like way too long, like such a long time. And yeah, it seems like the bong dimension is just a school cafeteria full of strippers where you can engage in as much debauchery as you want. And occasionally characters from other full moon films will show up and talk to you. And
there's a guy from like Puppet Master, right? In this first one, the horrible little racist puppet.
Yeah.
And the short guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Ginger Dead Man is in it too, right?
Yeah, I think he shows up with the next one.
Yeah. So Bachman sits down. The bong is telling him to like, have fun, stuff like that. And one of the girls who actually has a top on, reveals that she has like this bra that has a couple of skulls on it.
Goth boobs.
Goth boobs.
Yeah. And then she fucking like she leans on this guy. She like straddles him, and then like leans in, and the skulls on her bra, little skull faces, open their mouths and bite his neck. And there's just like a bunch of like blood coming out of him, and he sort of like goes unconscious again, and that's like the last we see of Bachman for a while.
If you die in the bong, you die in real life.
Exactly. So like he's done with his trip, and then like they wake up the next morning or whatever, and Bachman won't get up, and it's revealed that he's dead. Alistair wants to call the police about this, and the guys are like, "No, are you kidding? There's so much weed in our house. Holy shit!"
They plan on dumping his body in front of his parents' house.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, oh my god, I forgot. Yeah, they were just gonna dump his body in front of his parents' place and then call it a day, and then decide to just like, we'll just put him in the garbage room. It's fine.
Yeah, they end up like hiding him downstairs in the garbage room, but they can't show that because they only have 2 sets. So they're just like burying him under blankets because that's when Larnell's grandpa shows up.
That's right.
Right. That's when it happens, when they're trying to hide Bachman's corpse and they have to like hide him under a blanket. And then his grandpa comes in and berates him for no reason, and then announces that he's engaged to this gal, and they start talking about this woman in ways that are I don't even know what the word is.
Nasty. Like the grandpa and Larnell are talking about how like she like Larnell hasn't seen her yet, and they're talking about like, oh yeah, she's so hot. Like I met her at one of the gyms I own because the grandpa and Larnell's whole family is super rich, which makes the fact that Larnell is constantly pretending he has no money and taking it from his roommates worse. But like,
Oh, they said he got cut off, right?
yeah, he does own the apartment though, so
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it's like
wow, that
his
sucks.
place.
But yeah, there's that one point Larnell's convinced that like it must be like a sugar baby that his grandpa's got because he's just like oh yeah, she hot, and he says something like I was hoping you'd find some big-titted bimbo that I could fuck on the side or something like that.
Yeah, basically wanting to cuck his own grandpa.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
He just says that explicitly to his grandpa, and his grandpa's like furious because why wouldn't
Yeah.
he be? And then she
Yeah.
walks in, and she's just like an old lady. She might be older than the grandpa.
Yeah, she's literally just like an old lady, and she sits on the couch, and Grandpa's like, "Oh, it's her nap time."
Yeah, we had a lot of sex this morning. She's really tired. And
Yeah.
Alistair is like offering her a cup of tea and asking if she's okay.
Mhm.
And everybody else is like, this old lady sucks.
So he, like, his grandpa, like, I think goes to the bathroom, and he just starts, like, toking nonstop until, like, his grandpa doesn't really, like, leave. They just kind of forget about him and then just do another wash to be like, all right, new scene.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
Larnell speaks to the bong and then goes to the bong dimension.
Yeah, because he takes another hit off the bong, and then he's like out cold. And I think that's when
That's when Man shows up.
yes, that too. I was gonna say after that is when they have that like really awkward, horrible party.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
He goes to the bong dimension. He meets a different stripper. The stripper, you predicted this, which is insane, Victor.
Okay, context for this. So, a while back, Dev and I watched Shark Side of the Moon, which is a terrible movie. Everybody should go watch it. But it
Yes.
involves shark-human hybrids on the moon, and many of them are shark women with shark titties. And I described this to a friend later who was like, oh, when you said shark titties, I imagined somebody like taking off their shirt and having sharks for boobs. And I had that conversation with you guys. I relayed this to you guys about 10 minutes before we watched this movie, in which this happened.
Larnell goes to the bong dimension where the bong speaks to him, is just like very kind, just like, you have fun, don't worry about a thing. His grandpa shows up for some reason in the bong dimension.
Just to
and
berate him.
Yeah, just to
Yeah.
berate him. And then he's just like, Bong, get rid of my grandpa.
Yeah, it's like some sort of
ass.
power fantasy of like I really want to just fucking destroy this guy verbally the way he does with me. And then he talks to Ginger Dead Man who starts like yanking it, like he just starts jerking off. That's a thing that happens. It's like these props will just start like jacking off while fucking like one of these characters gets like eaten by these women with tits that eat you. Because this one, she's got like actual sharks on her bra, like here,
She's got shark titties.
yeah, literally got shark titties. And he like goes to touch one, and then it like grabs his hand and eats it.
With the fucking jerking off weird little puppets. The first one with the little racist puppet. It was also smoking weed and jerking off, like, while Bachman got killed, and the other guy, I don't know what movie he's from, was just like, nasty, and then it went into one of those transitions.
Yeah, it was the Ginger Dead Man from the Ginger Dead Man series,
who, by the way, makes more appearances, because I did not know who the Ginger Dead Man was, but in Evil Bong 420, the one that I watched like 5 minutes of, the first scene is with him. So he's going to be a recurring character in the Evil Bong franchise.
I know they had like a crossover movie, like an official crossover movie of like Evil Bong versus the Ginger Dead Man as well. We do not have to add that to the list.
Oh, thank God.
Absolutely the fuck not.
No.
If that's technically part of the Ginger Dead Man franchise, then I think we don't have to add it to this. I think that's okay.
Yeah. save ourselves an 11th movie.
Because as far as I know, the Ginger Dead Man is just like a Child's Play ripoff, but if Chucky was a cookie instead of a doll.
Yeah, oh god. And like he makes cookie themed puns, like sex innuendos too. Like he says like I'm gonna cream or something like that. It's the worst.
It's horrible.
Terrible. It's awful to see and take in with the eyes.
Mhm.
So Larnell's hand gets eaten by a shark titty, and then we skip to the next part, which is like a really lame party that they have.
It's the worst party.
The girls come back. It's just Alistair and the jock. They just prop up Larnell's body in a couch and call it a day.
They don't even know he's dead. He's just laying there in the couch on the recliner.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, he smoked a lot, and then somebody else asks about Bachman, and they're like, he's dead
moved.
Tired.
That's right. So they clean up Alistair a little bit so he doesn't look as nerdy. And the two girls and the jock smoke. Alistair does not partake.
Oh, there's one thing I did want to. I'm sorry, but we talked a little bit about the soundtrack and how fucking baffling it is. The music will just like not match up with what's going on screen, and one of the places where this was like really glaring was Alistair and the jock before the gals come over are having this conversation, and Alistair's talking about how he's like not good with women or whatever, and the jock is talking to him about Janet, who's the blonde one, and he says to her, she was totally giving you the fuck me eyes, right? They're having this like super dirty conversation that's very misogynistic, and beneath it there's like this heartfelt acoustic guitar music playing.
They're bonding.
No.
Yeah.
There's that, and every time the bong speaks, there's just like this like sultry like R&B music that's going on.
Yeah. By the way, the bong talks in a sassy black woman voice, which is a choice.
Yeah, basically everybody else in this movie is white except for
the bong.
Except for the bong. Yeah, which is some fucking weird racial coding, and I can't put words to why it makes me so uncomfortable. It's weird that like the one thing that's coded as black is like the non-human thing. I don't know how to explain it.
I do not know, but Michelle Myers is the voice actor for the bong.
Yeah, so at least it's not like a white woman doing a black person impression. At least it's she appears to be a person of color anyway. I don't know how she identifies, but yeah, so that's a choice that they made.
For sure.
I mean,
once again, another long-running Full Moon actress. Apparently she's also a director for a couple of them, but I can't find which ones she's
fun.
a director of.
Good for her.
Well, we can look into that further. We do also. I do want you to, or I guess I'll put it in the description of, wherever we post this, the link to the Spotify playlist you found of the soundtrack for this film. Yes, there is an ICP song on there, among many, many others.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's great.
Okay, during this shit-ass party, Alistair and Janet are like flirting because they're both like nerds. They're both smart. And they're playing like Trivial Pursuit or something, and the three of them are smoking when fucking the jock guy sits down and his girlfriend has a manic episode, I guess. She goes insane. It's really uncomfortable.
She's just... I don't know what in the world the direction was for that one, other than like her going absolutely bonkers, saying she's really horny. She gets a pogo stick and like starts doing a pogo stick trick where she's just bouncing without holding the handlebars.
And like
she
screaming.
gets on top of her boyfriend. Yeah, and screaming. She gets on top of her boyfriend, calls him a slur, and then they both pass out.
Yeah, she's like him. She's like freaking out because he's not horny.
Yeah.
It's really,
really
she
starts like slapping him. She starts slapping him, and she's like, "Are you gonna get it up for me? Are you gonna get it up for me? If you don't, I'm gonna tell everybody you're going F slur." And then
they both pass out.
Yeah, she passes out. I think he was already kind of like nodding off a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the bong sucks both of their souls out of their bodies, as it's done with Larnell and Bachman thus far. And it's worth noting that like the Bong does indeed have a face that gets more and more like detailed and lifelike as time goes on. As with every like soul that it sucks, it gets more like power, and that's how it like starts to look this fucking awful. It also the mouth of it moves, but it doesn't articulate. So like whenever the Bong is talking, it just does the Muppet thing of like going, you know.
It's like
Yeah.
they're manipulating the image itself. It's not even an actual puppet.
Oh,
Like-
okay. Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's not, huh?
Like I think the eyes can move around, but that's the only part of it that actually moves.
Yeah, the eyes
Yeah.
are the only articulate thing, and then it's just they're doing
The mouth
something.
is
with
just some fucking Photoshop bullshit. That's what it is.
So the two unnamed characters end up in they probably have names. I don't give a shit though. End
Yeah.
up in the Bong dimension where they see like a toy from Evil Toys, and it's like a clown Jack in the Box, and this is when the ICP song is playing, and his girlfriend is like, I'm not into this place. Well, kind of a little bit, but not really. And then she just gets carried away by security again, like screaming. And he's like, ah, cool. Now I can have like a good time without my, I don't know, bitch girlfriend, I guess. Like, sits down, and there's a stripper there, and he recognizes her because earlier in the movie, he was having a discussion with Bachman, and he said like, or Bachman was like, you know, there's the same way that there's like no bad weed, like there's no bad like blowjobs, and he's like, I don't know, man. One time this girl gave me a blowjob, and it was like a pack of piranhas going after a goat or something like that.
And then Bachman says, "Poor goat."
Oh, that poor goat. But like he recognizes this stripper in the weed dimension. It's that girl who gave him the terrible blowjob, and then she gives him another blowjob, and I guess bites his dick like straight up off. Like they don't show it, but she's just like, "Oh, I heard what you said about my blowjobs," and then he's just like, he appears to be screaming in actual agony, and then it cuts away.
So it's just Janet and Alistair, and they're like, "Oh shit! All of our friends are dying." Because of the weed. What the fuck's happening? And then Tommy Chong just busts through the door.
He just walks in with a duffel bag.
He just walks in.
Yeah, with the duffel bag, and he's like, he says, "Oh, there it is, my bong. I've been looking for this." And Alistair's like, "I thought that it was the previous owner was dead," and then the guy's like, "Yeah, it's just my wife, wishful thinking on her part," or something like that.
She sold his bong. She sold his Hot Wheels. How could
she sold Hot Wheels. Terrible, terrible. Yeah, so he says, I think he said like he came there to destroy it or something like that because it killed all his friends. He's like, "Yeah, I killed all my friends, bro."
He just had it in storage for years.
That in storage. Yeah, and then I think after that it's like, no, didn't Janet get sucked in like directly before then? Because she hit the bong too.
She's like,
she
out.
hit the bong. Tommy Chong comes in and it's just like, "Yeah, I killed all my friends, man."
You gotta go save her. Like, there's no getting out of there, but I guess you can try. Here's these, I don't know, sobering up pills.
Yeah.
Alistair, like, smokes some of the weed and immediately coughs like a huge loser, and then passes out and goes to be fair,
that's like everybody's first experience with the bong, though. I don't think I've ever met anybody who's had, like, a graceful first rip. I just don't think it's possible. So, but yeah, like he smokes like just the tiniest amount. He starts like choking and then passes out. He gets to this dimension, and the bong like greets him when he gets there, and then has like 3 strippers start like groping him everywhere to try and like get him to not try and save Janet or something. And he keeps saying stuff like, "I shall not. I refuse." Nerd shit, the way he talks. He can't even say the word dead. He said like expired, deceased, passed away.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he goes off. He finds Janet is in a cage with this male stripper.
This obviously gay male stripper because he's wearing like a rainbow thong and like a rainbow helmet.
Yeah, and the way he dances is just not. I don't think it's a fantasy that any woman has ever possessed. It's just bizarre and uncomfortable to watch.
What a movie!
What a movie, indeed.
From what little I've gathered about the next ones, they get so much weirder.
Oh boy, sounds great.
If King Bong doesn't end in like a fucking giant bong like tokusatsu style fight, I'm gonna be so mad.
I'm definitely curious.
Is this gonna be like a battle shonen anime of all the Full Moon characters.
Yes.
Super Smash Brothers. I mean, they have a roster.
Yeah.
They do indeed. They have their own rogues gallery.
So it keeps like cutting back to like Chong like trying to destroy the bong. He's like hitting it with hammers and it's just like magically bouncing off, and she's like teasing him. He tries to hit it with a chainsaw and that also magically bounces off.
Yeah. But then dynamite is that intimidates her. Like a chainsaw, nah. A hammer, nah. But dynamite, there's something different about that.
Yeah. That's scary to the bong.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we should mention, by the way, the mailman who delivered the bong, the package that the bong was in, he's also going to be a recurring character in these coming movies. So I'm sure we'll get to know him more. But he shows up, he already looks baked. He's just like smiling the whole time.
Also of note, the strippers have clearly like it cuts back to Alistair and he's like covered in like kiss marks, and also his shirt has been like shredded by the strippers.
Yeah.
But he helps sober Janet up. And like he also like confronts the bong, gives a big patriotic speech with patriotic music because she says she wants to like absorb everyone's souls and rule the world, and soon it will be a beautiful baked dimension with weed smoked clouds and bong water oceans. And he says she's nothing but like a ganja baked dictator or something like that.
Right, and he's a Sigma male, so he's not going to let that stand.
So, while that is happening, the bong, seeing like Tommy Chong with a fucking stick of dynamite, is just like, "Hey, it's been a minute. Do you want to? I got some really good stuff. Do you want to try some?" And he's just like, "Shit, yeah."
Must resist, and then she just starts like smoking it out the top, like a train.
Yeah, she starts smoking him out. He's like, "Oh, you got that BC blood?
Good stuff.
This is the good shit."
So Tommy Chong ends up in the fucking weed dimension as well.
She got me, man.
Yeah, man. He tells Alistair and Janet to get the hell out of there somehow, and they do, and he confronts the bong. He rips open his shirt. He's got dynamite strapped to him, and he explodes.
In a beautiful, pasted over the screen stock explosion effect.
Yeah.
So the two make it out, and slowly everybody starts to come back. How they made it out, don't worry about it. But everybody's slowly coming out of the bong dimension.
They're alive again. Larnell, he wakes up. The jock and the girlfriend wake up, and then fucking Bachman comes out and he's like, "I woke up downstairs under a big pile of trash. Man, we must have had a great party last night."
Even though he's been like clinically dead for 3 days. And then of course they have to ask, what about Jimmy, or the character played by Tommy Chong, because he's not there. Like his body isn't even there. So he somehow transported both himself and the dynamite into the bong dimension in order to blow up this bong. And I think the end of the film is we cut back into the bong dimension, and it's him on like some kind of throne in the same warehouse. And like all the strippers are there, and they're like, "You did it! You won! You're the king of the bong world now."
And they're playing with Hot Wheels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He says like they're like, "You can do anything you want in here." He's like, "The first thing I want is for you girls to play with my Hot Wheels." And he opens his hands. He's got his like Hot Wheels collection with him, and they all start playing with the Hot Wheels.
This fucking movie, man.
The movie ends there.
It's beautiful.
They linger, by the way. Like, so many of these shots do linger because they had to get it, like, above 90 minutes. But they linger on them playing the Hot Wheels, too. So it's not just, like, a couple of seconds. It's like they're actually like, "Oh, there it goes!" And, like,
they didn't even break They didn't even break 90 minutes. It's 120. It's an hour and 25 minutes long.
Oh, wow. So
With
it's,
credits.
like, 75 minutes. Wow. Okay. Yeah. This was the big ol' nothing burger. I don't know what Full Moon was thinking. Like,
I have theories, but I want to ask you both. Do you think this movie is pro-weed or anti-weed? I can't decide.
Okay, so in the middle of Alistair's big speech, he's like, "No one should be forced to be high. Everybody should be able to get high when they want and how they want." And, like, that's part of his big speech. So I think it's pro-weed, because no one's villainized for smoking weed. Just the bong is villainized for killing people who are smoking weed.
Yeah, I think any anti-weed sentiment is probably a product of the time because in 2006, I don't think it was legal anywhere in the US. I don't know where Full Moon is based, but like the way people talked about weed back then was different than how they talk about it now. Yeah, like nowadays we're more or less tolerant about it, but back then it was a drug same as any other. So I think any anti-weed sentiment is just the fact that this is a very like a terminally 2000s film. So, but yeah, I think it's mostly pro-weed, albeit in a weird way.
Because, yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Because it is trying to be like an early 2000s stoner comedy, kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah, sort of, except it's not. Yeah, like it's
The
funny,
jokes
but
aren't
not. Yeah, the jokes aren't funny. It's funny in when it's not trying to be funny. I will say that like now these actors are not the most talented actors on the planet, but in watching this film, it really occurred to me exactly how skilled you have to be in order to act. Like a lot of people think of acting. I feel like used to think of acting more or less as just like being really good at lying. Like that was essentially kind of how I conceptualized it. I know like in recent years I've come to know that's not the case, but like it occurred to me exactly how skilled you have to be as an actor to also like control your reactions to stuff, because if I had been in this film, I would not have been able to do this without cracking up. I would not have been able to take this seriously for 1 second and like actually try, but these people like actually tried and like didn't crack up when any normal person would have. So like not the best actors, but it just sort of dawned on me like, oh, there's a lot more that goes into acting than just saying your line's good.
I 100%, because I would have been cracking up this whole movie. I would not have been able to keep a straight face. And I can also believe basically every actor in like whatever their role they're doing. I'm just like, I look at all of these guys and I'm like, those are a bunch of stoners, except for Alistair, who doesn't really look like a nerd. He looks like somebody who's like in nerd cosplay.
Yeah, he looks like he's probably a genuinely handsome dude, but they just like nerded him out, gave him like the overly gelled weird hair and the fake glasses. But yeah, there was the one scene where I feel like maybe the reaction was genuine was the scene where that woman just has a freak out because she's like really horny. The expression on Alistair's face was pure mortification, and I empathized with him in that moment. That's kind of like where I was at too. Like, less of a oh my god, is she okay, and more of a oh my god, I'm in a movie where this happens. And I'm watching this happen, and no one's stepping in, no one's doing anything about it because we're all being paid to be here.
Yeah. Like,
I genuinely want to know what the direction looked like on the page for her to like do all that. Like that's the if anything's sticking with me, there's two things that are sticking with me. It's that freak out, her horny freak out, and then Tommy Chong just rolling Hot Wheels over some woman's boobs.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and he like stuffs it in her cleavage or whatever.
He's like, it's got a big mountain to go up. It can make it. No, it can't. And like, I imagine the direction for that is just like, go crazy, go nuts.
Yeah, just have like a huge freak out. And like I have to wonder like how many takes that took, because my first thought was like that can't have been more than one take. This is just too insane. But now I'm thinking like I'm wondering like were there multiple takes where she was less freaked out and the director went nah, you got to amp it up. Like what was the motive, what was the rationale behind any of this, but like behind that creative choice?
I think if you work for this studio, you have to be really good at just playing whatever you're doing straight, because it all looks like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all like that. Okay, all right.
Oh yeah, no. Full Moon Production is well known for this kind of thing. A lot of no-name actors, a lot of weird concepts to make into like killer something or other. $2 budget and weird direction for no reason. And I don't know, I can't tell. It's hard to tell if that was like a one-take thing or not. I mostly say that because in the middle of her freak out, she does accidentally like slap that guy in the balls, and you do see him flinch.
Oh yeah.
Okay, is Full Moon Productions the people behind Thanksgiving too? It's the same shitty puppet. So
Thanksgiving?
Yeah, Thanksgiving. It's the one with the evil turkey.
Let's see.
That like Because I know, like, Thanksgiving and, like, the Jack Frost horror movie are, like, the same people, I think. But I don't know if they're both Full Moon Productions. Thanksgiving, it's a turkey that murders people. And
Awesome.
then there's the murderous Jack Frost snowman. Like,
I've heard of that one because I've heard it's one of like the worst movies of all time.
It looked like it was distributed by Gravitas Ventures. Thanksgivings.
Okay, they're in the same vein as Full Moon Productions to me.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's very funny that they came back to try and do like another Thanksgiving-themed horror movie in the last year or two. Not these people, just somebody else made another Thanksgiving horror movie.
Why? I mean, they'll make fucking slasher movies about anything, though. While I was looking at the, I think it was the IMDb page for Evil Bong, I saw no. It was the Amazon posting for the 9-disc box set that you showed us.
Yep.
And beneath that, there was one of the recommended products was a slasher film called The Mean One, which is The Grinch.
Oh my god. Oh,
awesome.
Okay, this comes back to, like, just shitty slasher movies. The same people who made the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey one have started showing off, like, the puppet for the Pinocchio one they're making, because they want to make, like, a cinematic universe of, like, kids' story slashers. The Pinocchio puppet actually looks pretty good.
I will take your word for it. Actually, no, I'm going to fact check you. I don't believe it.
The way it's articulated is pretty good. Anyway, I've always been curious, because, like, there was a thing when I was younger, before I was, like, brave enough to watch scary movies or whatever. If you told me a movie was scary, I wouldn't watch it. If you didn't tell me, I would just watch it. Like, I was terrified of the concept of horror movies, but I'd come home from school every day and sit down and watch, like, Anacondas or Jurassic Park 3 at the age of 5, like, eating SpaghettiOs. I loved reading about horror movies, so I brushed up on, like, I'd read, like, Wikipedia pages, like, until 2 in the morning in middle school about, like all the Puppet Master movies or whatever, or I specifically remember learning about the existence of Evil Bong because I'd go to Walmart and, like, read all the descriptions, the movies in the discount movie bin until my parents were done grocery shopping. And that's where I read about the, like, Evil Bong, like, movie collections, and I was like, this sounds weird. What's a bong? I'm 10.
Yeah, I remember you saying that you found it in, like, a discount bin or something like that.
There's so many horror movies I learned about just by, like, reading the backs of them in discount bins.
Love that.
God, one of the movies of all time, for sure.
It sure is. I guess, like, the Full Moon Productions movies are weird. I don't know why they made 10 of these. I'm guessing that the 10th one is in production or something, because the 8th one came out in 2022.
Let me double check. They might have it on their Wikipedia. But I do know for some reason, probably because these are, like, cheap to produce, like, cheap to get out there, and their name has been, like, really synonymous with, like, cheapo B horror movies. I mean, before they were even Full Moon Productions, they were entertainment, and one of the most well-known B movies of all time was produced under them, freaking Reanimator.
Oh, wow.
And once they became Full Moon Productions, they made The Puppet Master, like, which also blew up extremely, especially in, like, the home video market before that crashed during the streaming days.
I think it's tied as, like, the longest running horror movie franchise with, I think, Witchcraft. There's, like, 16 or 14 or something of them.
Oh my god.
Terrible.
That's crazy.
I won't lie, I completely spaced out for, like, 10-20 seconds there. To be fair, I think it's wearing off. That might have been more ADHD than weed. I'm not sure.
It could be one, it could be the other, it could be both.
Who fucking knows?
Incredibly long-running, like, low-budget horror franchises are so fascinating to me. Like, The Howling, Witchcraft, all of the Full Moon Productions ones, like, they just get so insane so fast.
Yeah, I don't have, like, I haven't seen as many films as people in general because of, again, the, like, sensory issues. I can really only watch, like, one per night, and that's just on my TV. So, like, I'll be getting an education from both of you, I'm sure. So, do we want to, like, rate this movie? Do we want to give it like a rating from 1 to 10? And do we want to explain why?
So what's the scale? Like 1 being the worst and 10 being you would watch it again, or what do you think the scale is? Because like it's not a good movie, so it makes it pretty hard.
I guess enjoyment level is how we're gonna have to do this, because none of them are gonna be good.
No, obviously not. It may be like say like scale of 1 to 10 how you enjoyed it, and then whether you would watch it again.
Okay, so you first, as the person who watched this in the proper mindset of high.
Oh, me first? Oh, I thought you were talking to Toby. I would say for enjoyment, I'm gonna put it at a 5. Because that's like an average of like the experiences. Because there were some scenes where it was like, I am in hell. This is awful. Holy shit, what have I gotten myself into? And then there were other scenes like the Hot Wheels one where I was like, this is the greatest film ever made. So I think if I were to average them all out, I'd put it at a 5. Am I going to watch it again? Probably not. I'll add a third question in there. Am I going to recommend it to other people? Yes, if you want something you will never forget. Unlike anything else you've seen or will see, yes.
Toby?
Watching by yourself, it's a 2. Watching with friends, it's definitely a 6 or a 7. This is a movie that you can subject other people to and watch their reactions.
Yeah, it's not one you want to watch alone. I feel like that was the prediction I made when we sort of talked off mic, is that my prediction is these movies are going to be fun to watch with friends, but watching them alone, you are never going to have any fun. Like, it's going to be the most depressing experience. So would you watch this again, and would you recommend it to anybody else?
I would not watch it again. I would subject other people to it. I'd have them watch it and watch them, because I'm a fucker.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason I would be recommending it to anybody, is just to subject them to Tommy Chong Hot Wheels.
I have seen Shark Side of the Moon 3 times for that reason. So, what about you, Victor? 1 to 10 on enjoyment.
I'm gonna give it like a 5. I think if it wasn't the second time I had watched it, it'd be higher. It would have been like a 6 or a 7.
Yeah, the first time we watched it was definitely like the energy was a lot higher than it is now. Part of it was my fault.
It was great. Well, I also like turned around and my husband had taken like a wooden shark I have and like taped marbles to its chest as if it had boobs and was like, here, shark boobs. And just handed me that in the middle of our viewing experience.
Forgot about that. Yeah, that's right.
So 5 now, definitely 6 or 7 if it's your first time watching. Would I recommend it to people? Yes. Just for the insanity of the experience, but I watch it again. Twice is enough, and never alone.
Yeah.
For sure.
I would recommend too, if you are gonna watch it, smoke a bowl. It's how this film was intended to be watched, and I don't think it's gonna be nearly as enjoyable if you watch it sober. I think, like, I'm not the one to like advocate for substance abuse or anything. I never have been, but in this particular case, it just seems like the spiritually the right thing to do. You know what I mean?
I have one thing I want to observe about this movie, which is that, like, the apartment really does feel like, you know, a bunch of shithead, like, 20-something dudes live there. It is filthy, but, like, they have a lot of stuff that is clearly not product placement because they are constantly holding the label or placing the label, like, away from where you can see it.
Yeah.
But they also are, like, actually smoking, if not weed, something for, like, a majority of the movie. You can tell they weren't going to CGI in that smoke. So, like, there's, like, visible, like, Crunch Bars, Diet Coke, Doritos, a lot of Lucky Charms. Like, how worried do you think they were about getting sued?
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of that scene where, like, Alistair's, like, getting cereal for himself, and then the jock guy comes in, and he's like, make me a bowl, and Alistair just kind of, like, pours it. The jock guy takes it out of his hands, and takes a spoon, and starts eating it dry.
My favorite joke in the movie is also, like, right at the beginning when, like, Bachman has put his, like, conch shell on jock guy's, like, shelf of baseball trophies, and he, like, throws it into Bachman's bowl of cereal, and he picks it up and he's like, I can't hear the ocean anymore, I think you broke it. And I don't know why I love that joke as much as I do.
It's a good. I didn't catch it, honestly. I didn't catch that one. Bachman was the best character in this, I think. No, it was Tommy Chong's character was easily the best character.
If there
Bachman
was
close
anybody that I was going to share a bong with, it's Tommy Chong.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Dream blood rotation right there.
yeah. I mean, okay. I think it's a little unfair though, because if Tommy Chong shows up in any of these movies, he's going to be the best character in the movie. Like no matter what, he's going to stand out. So Tommy Chong aside from because he's like a godlike presence compared to the rest of these people, who's the best character in this film? Tommy Chong aside, who's the best character in this film?
I think I have to. I'm gonna have to go with either the strippers as a collective, or Bachman. The strippers are kind of winning out though. They're really funny.
Yeah.
Same.
I would say Bachman's pretty good. The close second for me is Larnell's grandpa. Just the way that guy talks is insane. Like I wanted to. It's funny because like I had the thought while he was talking that I was like, I should write down some of these quips so that I can give the idea to the audience like exactly what we're dealing with here. But it was just one after another so much that I couldn't remember the last one before he put another one. I'd be like, oh, that one's even better, and like there's so much.
The one I remember the most is him, like, he's talking to Larnell and he's like, I knew you were, like, from the moment I walked in on you sucking on your own dirty diapers, I knew you were going to be a grade A ignoramus.
Yeah,
He's insane. Or, like, I can't wait till, like, something will be feasting upon your scrotum sack.
Yeah. I think it's like Demons in Hell or something like that.
He was his dialogue.
It was baffling. And like dialogue is something that for whatever reason stands out to me. Like it's something I pay attention to more than most other things in like movies and books and what have you. And the dialogue in this is definitely not the worst I've ever seen, but it's so disjointed. I think Tobi, you'd said something about like it seemed like sort of two scripts layered on top of each other.
Yeah.
It's two different movies, but they're the same movie. It's difficult to explain.
They had like two different ways they could go about certain things, and they decided to go in like one way that would make sense in a different movie than it would in this movie, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, we talked about, it seems like it was supposed to be a movie about Larnell getting possessed by the bong and then turned into this somehow.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think that movie would have been like, the Larnell gets possessed by a bong? Because they do keep, like, shooting him like he's a villain in certain scenes with, like, weird lighting, like, under the chin, like, angles. And he's just he's just saying normal things in a really weird way.
Yeah, what would that movie be like?
Some, like, idle hands kind of stuff, I think.
Way more anti-weed if it was that movie, I think.
So true.
Yeah, I think Alistair also wouldn't be there. Or no, you know what, he would, but he'd be some kind of priest instead of a nerd.
he'd be going to priest school.
He'd be Mormon. He'd be a Mormon missionary. Because any member of the priesthood in the Mormon church can perform an exorcism. So if you need somebody to do an exorcism and you can't get a Catholic one, store brand is fine. The dollar store one is fine.
Now I'm thinking about like somebody like in this like shit ass weed apartment, like trying to like get up the stuff to do a like exorcism with like our holy blessed bowl of cereal milk.
Yeah. No, are you kidding? Holy bong water. Like all you need a priest, pour out the bong water and bless it. Yeah.
I feel like in this series we're going to slowly recreate our better version of the Evil Bong series.
Well, I mean, fuck it, let's do that right now. How would you fix this movie? I mean, it's just a tough task, but like, what is something that would make this movie a lot better?
All right, here is my fix.
Okay.
1, we do not bring like a possessed bong into this. It's just not in the way that it is here. Not a talking bong.
No, I was about to say no evil bong in the Evil Bong.
Yeah, no evil bong in the Evil Bong movie, actually. Fuck you.
No, fuck you, unevils your bong.
My fucking bong! No, the bong does not talk. Larnell gets possessed, and Alistair is like one of his like good friends, and he's just like trying to fix him. And then Tommy Chong comes in as the weed exorcist.
There
and it turns into like a wild parody of The Exorcist from there.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that a lot better because I feel like Alistair is, despite the fact that his actor's not necessarily bad, I think he's the weakest link in this film,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's definitely the weirdest acted and the least fun, like, in a combo.
Yeah, which, like, at that point, like, why include him? This is very clearly intended to be, like, a comedy. So you have, like, one guy who's there specifically to make it less funny. Like, that's...
They gotta have one guy who's, like, not doing the weed. Okay, here's my pitch for in the better version. He's not, like, a nerd who wants to preserve his brain cells or whatever. He thinks he's allergic. He, like, somebody gave him oregano once instead of weed, and now he thinks it will kill him if he smokes weed. He's like, at the end, he's got to save his friends. He's like, I gotta take one for the team. And then he's like, wait, this is like...
I'm not allergic. I love that. That's good. Man, how would I fix this movie? How would I fix a movie about an evil bong? I mean, it seems to me like... And perhaps this is just because they didn't have, like, a budget to do effects, but it seems like the primary sort of driving force is kind of the interpersonal drama. So maybe we lean into that and make it like a artsy sort of, the real horror is the stuff that people do to each other. And so we do, and like, this is a really grim idea now that I think about it, but we do like, maybe not like a Hellraiser type of thing, but like, the bong has an evil presence that causes them to be evil to each other. And this is my new splatterpunk novella, Evil Bong. But yeah, it's like, instead of getting you high, like, it gets you high, but then you start to do horrible things, and maybe you like trip out and you go to the bong dimension, but then you wake up and like this soulless version of you has just wreaked havoc on the apartment. And so like it's like it's an art film. It's an indie art film.
It's at that point it feels as if we're recreating like reefer madness to like, oh no, the weed made you a murderer. If we go for the interpersonal like art film drama, but I think like leaning into like Larnell and his grandpa's drama thing is he's like, man, I gotta get my act clean up if I want to like get back in the family, but he's clearly just like still a shithead who has no self-control, and it's like, I'm really trying. Now the weed is influencing me. He's destroying his friendships. He's destroying his life just when he was starting to try and clean up so he could get the inheritance from his grandpa.
Right. So he becomes like this Byronic hero. This fucking Bong movie.
I'm imagining the version of this that has just like this POV shot of Larnell just like coming back from like his weed-based murder. He looks at his hands covered in blood. He sees people and he just like, ah! Starts screaming. And
he like gets done. He gets done in the bong dimension, getting like a lap dance from a stripper, and then like she's got the shark titties, and then they bite his neck, and he like bleeds out, and then fucking he wakes up, and he's like bitten someone else's neck.
Ah. When you die in the weed dimension, you murder someone in real life.
I think that's the title of the episode. If you die in the weed dimension, you murder someone in real life. No, we'll get demonetized. If you die in the weed dimension, you die in real life. I think that'll be good enough. I mean, what else can we really say about this movie? I think we should do some predictions. Before we go about what the next movie's going to be about.
Do y'all want the what the subtitle of Evil Bong 2 is?
I know it's
King Bong.
Yeah, it's King Bong.
Okay. I did get a very minor spoiler from like reading the TV tropes page for the first movie, the trivia section. So I think my prediction is they try and go to like the place where the Evil Bong was made, like find out where it comes from. And it is like a straight up like kind of really racist King Kong parody. Like, I guess, I mean, the original King Kong's also really racist, so, you know.
Yeah.
But, like, they go there, there's, like, you know, sexy weed-smoking stripper women is, like, a whole group of people. They're the entire population of the island, and they have to find, like, the big bong, the King Bong. And, by the way, the fucking bong's name is Evie.
Right.
And
Yeah, like Evie, but with a B.
yeah, she's sending you to EBDB. Fucking, but like they find like Evie's like dad, the ultimate bong spirit. That's my
See, I
prediction.
think I love that, and I'm down for it. I think King Bong is going to be Tommy Chong's character because he's the king of the Bong dimension now, right? So I think it's going to be him, and there's two directions I feel like it go with. A, he's evil now, which would be the easy route, or B, it's like a high fantasy adventure where he's exploring more of the Bong dimension. And like he walks out of the abandoned school cafeteria and he's in like a palace, and that's his new palace is the king, and he has to reckon with the responsibilities of being a king, while also having a bunch of like stoner themed humor along the way and stoner themed dilemmas.
Him and his 3 weed smoking girlfriends.
Oh, we've been spending too much on the feasts because everybody's got the munchies.
Don't worry, it's cheaper than mutton. We just buy Doritos.
Yeah, that's like the food that they subsist on is like Doritos and like Taco Bell.
Oh my god.
Okay, what is your theory then? Your
My
prediction.
theory, my prediction is that what's going to happen is it turns into like this post-apocalyptic, like too many people have been smoking from the evil bong and too many people are just comatose states all over the place, and the bong is to a point where it is giant and slowly taking over a small city in Oregon, probably.
But they're all Amish, so they don't smoke the weed.
See, that's where the Amish come in, and they make a giant wooden robot to fight the evil bong. It is a monster fighting movie.
Hell yes.
I love that.
I'd be
A
down
wooden
for
mech.
any version of this.
Yeah, me too.
Do we have anything else to say about this movie?
Evil Bong versus Godzilla. Would you watch it?
I would watch it.
I would too.
All right. And on that note, I believe that is the end of our podcast. You can find links to all our creative stuff in the doobly-doo. You guys have any plugs you want to do for any projects you're working on?
Well, Toby and I do a podcast with my husband where we're just watching all of the Buzz Lightyear cartoon, like episode by episode. And the one we just watched was so fucked up. So you get to hear about that.
Yeah, it's To Infinity and Rewind. Should be a link to the Mercury Melon channel in the description. I do a lot of stuff. I do a webcomic called Devil Went Down to Vegas. I am an award-winning author, and you can read my book Fever Dreams on Amazon. I do another podcast called Party Bonus with some of my fellow authors. I got a lot going on. What about you, Toby?
If you want to see some illustrations that I do or learn about little ideas that I've been slowly working on, you can always check out my Blue Sky. I always have illustration commissions open. You can come check out any of my stuff over on Toby Langley at Blue Sky.
And on that note, we will see you in the Bong dimension next time. Bye.